Welcome to Black Gumbo. We've got some spider mites. Let's go kill them. Well, I've got some spider mites in my perpetual spinach and it's killing it off, and I think that spinach is done. But that's okay. I had a good long run. It's done 2 springs. That's better than some of the crops I get around here. But spider mites, man, I got a big infestation over there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. When you start seeing these little spots inside the leaf like this, always take a look under your plant. And so you can see there's some tiny little spots in there, and there's a lot of them over here. Those are, if you watch them long enough, some of them will move. These are spider mites and spider mite eggs, and we got to get rid of them now before they take over, because I'll show you what they look like when they really take over and infest your garden. Let's go look at my perpetual spinach. I've been working on taking out these sad spinaches, and I'll show you why they're sad. They've been infested by these mites. And you can see that when they get a big colony going, I don't know if you can see it very well, but right where my finger's pushing up there are webs. This is not a good sign. These little spider mites feed on your plant, the moisture from your plant. They take the whole thing over, as you can see. They lay their eggs down in there, and that's no good. They kill your plant. So this plant, within the space of a week, went from a very vibrant green plant to looking sickly, and then now being taken over by spider mites. Now these mites will infest any plant. That one's really sad. Put on this guy. So here you can see what a spider mite looks like. You see that little dude there. They're tiny, and this is a macro lens, a 20x macro lens, and I'm having trouble focusing because the field of view is so shallow, but you can see those dudes on there working their eggs, and they leave this little webby mess under there. Those guys are not good. So I've got these spider mites in my spinach, and they spread by wind. The wind literally can blow them around because they put out these little thread-like webs. They spin this little web and they can float around. They're tiny, hard to see, and you don't notice them. We've had a lot of wind lately, and so I've got them in my squash. Just now showing up on my squash, or my zucchini, the ones we planted over there. I've got them in my cucumbers as well, and probably on my eggplant. So we're just gonna go spray everything. I get this cold pressed neem oil. It's better than the stuff you can buy that's kind of it's an extraction process they use that doesn't give you quite as good a product as this cold pressed stuff. So yeah, I like this stuff. It's good for the garden. It's actually good for your fingernails too, is what I hear. So here is your other common kind of neem oil. Why I don't like it is, look here on the ingredients. It has a clarified hydrophobic extract of neem oil, 70%. And 30% of this is other ingredients, and so it just sits on my shelf dusty in case I need an emergency backup. But that 30%, what is that? It's probably canola oil. Canola oil, by the way, you can use that in place of neem oil. Canola oil is just as good. So here's a tip when filling your container with a neem oil soap mixture. Put your water in first and then add your soap. That way when you fill it up, it doesn't foam up. So I've got my water in here, about that much. That's what, about 56 ounces. And I'm going to just put in what I consider to be, they say you're supposed to use, let's see here, 1 teaspoon per quart, 4 teaspoons per gallon. That's close to a gallon. I'm just gonna eyeball it and put 4 teaspoons in. There we go. Now, of course, water and oil don't mix. So to spray this stuff, you have to shake it up real well. The soap in there acts as an emulsifier and helps the mixture as well. If you don't have neem oil, you can use the soap alone, and that's effective on these spider mites. Neem oil is effective on other pests as well, and so I get a more broad killer. Get Phoebe. No, don't want you stinking. I'll come back in a day or two and check the progress of the death here. just like yesterday, I want to get this stuff underneath the leaves. It doesn't harm you if you get it on your hands, but I still see some spider mites down here. Especially, see, this is a healthy leaf. It doesn't have much damage to it, but this one you can see these. Phoebe, I'm working here. This one's got this damage here. These spider mites have been at work under here, and you can see them. It is a myth that your plants will get burned by the sun being magnified through those droplets of water. Water evaporates too quickly and doesn't have the shape of the lens really to burn your plants, but oil does. And some oil droplets, if left on here, can actually burn your plant. So, but I'm taking that risk because the bugs are more of a threat. Hop off there. There you go. Now these cucumbers are looking kind of sad because they've been in the sun all day. They're kind of wilty looking, but they're not lacking water. They're just droopy. They're fine. This happens to my cukes around here at this time of the day. In fact, they got a huge drink last night because we had a giant thunderstorm that brought down some free mulch from my neighbor's palm tree for me. So I've got a big palm log laying in the yard on the other side. Now remember, when you're using neem oil, to give it a shake every now and then. It's another reason you plant multiple seeds when you direct sow in the ground. I have 2 plants here, I'm going to thin down to 1. I've got 3 plants here, I'm going to thin down to 1. But when I get a disease like this, I can take the one that's not been attacked as much, and the healthiest plant gets to go on. Never throw an infested plant part in your compost bin. Always throw it in trash. You see there's some perpetual spinach down in there. All right, well, we've treated twice now. The first treatment was probably washed pretty good away by the rain. Last night we had a big thunderstorm. So I went and treated again. You're supposed to come back 3 days later and treat again just to break up the life cycle if some of those eggs survived that are there. You don't want those hatching out and forming another colony. So just go back in and kill with that neem oil again. Well, thanks again for joining us on Black Gumbo. I'm so glad that you've come by and spent some time with us. Hope you've learned something. If you have any ideas on these spider mites and how to minimize their damage, please leave a comment. Let me know. We'd love to hear from you. And I really enjoy chatting with you guys, and I've come to know some of you as regulars now. And so thanks for joining us and spending time. Please like us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.